If you're looking for a comforting meal and only want to wash one pot, this is a perfect meal for you. This is the Mima Special. It's one of the meals that we had all the time at her house, and here are the ingredients. You want 1 or 2 pounds of smoked sausage based on what your family will eat in the night, or even if you're planning on having leftovers. Turkey sausage is just fine if you don't eat pork. 1 head of cabbage, 1 to 3 pounds of potatoes based on how much you want, a pound of baby carrots, Greek seasoning or a seasoning of choice, chicken or ham base or a ham hock, some garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, salt, and you can season this however you'd like to. The first thing you're going to do is wash your potatoes and cut them into fourths. And I like to use red potatoes so I don't have to worry about peeling them. And that comes together pretty quickly. And I just throw those into a colander just to hold them as I'm cutting those up. You're also going to be, while you're cutting those potatoes, bringing about 1 inch of water to a boil. And if you have a ham hock, that is going to be when you're going to add this in, because you want to cook that and get as much flavor out of it as you possibly can. So let that cook in that water for 30 to 45 minutes to get all of that flavor out of the ham hock, so that that is going to infuse into your other things. At this stage, you can also add other seasonings, but I really like to add chicken base. We are also adding our carrots first because they take the longest to cook because they are the densest food. And these are going to be cooking while you are cutting up your potatoes. And you are going to add in some chicken base. If you don't have chicken base, you can use bouillon as well. But chicken base is great because it adds extra flavor. And it's basically like a paste version of chicken stock, and you can just keep it in the fridge and use it whenever you're ready. Then you're going to add your potatoes in on top of those carrots and cover them. And I know this does not look like a lot of water. The potatoes are not going to be covered, but they're pretty much going to steam on top of those, so don't worry too much about them being covered up. While those potatoes are cooking, we're going to cut up the cabbage. The first thing you're going to do is take those outer leaves off, because generally that might be a little bit dirty, and sometimes that's where the bugs have eaten it a little bit. Then you're going to cut that bottom stem off of there and discard that. Then you're going to cut that cabbage in half through that root end. So just place your knife in there, make sure you're keeping those fingers out of the way, and cut it in half. Then you are going to cut that half into a fourth. Once again, keeping those fingers out of the way, and having a sharp knife is going to help a lot out of that. And then cut the core out of there at an angle, and then set the core aside. Then you are going to slice those fourths into strips and set those into a colander to wash, because you do want to make sure that we get anything off of there that was on the cabbage when we bought it. So you're going to continue that same process with your remaining fourths. And then you're going to wash that cabbage in the colander and then add it on top of the potatoes. And if it piles up a little bit above the top of the pot, it will cook down pretty quickly. Just kind of set your lid on top of it and it'll eventually go down. Then we are going to season this really well, add lots and lots of salt, lots of pepper, some garlic powder, some onion powder, some Greek seasoning or whatever seasoning that you like. And I like to put this on top so that it has a chance to really soak down into everything else. Then you're going to add your smoked sausage on top of the cabbage and just kind of set it around and curve it around the edges of the pot. And then add your lid on, and that sausage is going to steam and the cabbage is going to steam as you are cooking it. And check it about every 10 minutes or so. And the cabbage is going to cook down and become transparent. And you know it's done when that cabbage is transparent and the potatoes pierce easily with a fork. And you end up with a one-pot meal that has potatoes, cabbage, carrots. You can also add onions in here if you'd like to. And that smoked sausage is a great protein as well. And you only have to wash one pot. This is just a reminder that we do have our 2 membership levels, and we would love to have you join. If Spending a little bit of money is out of the budget right now, which I completely understand. We also are in great need of subscribers. We are so close to that monetization level, so please click that subscribe button. We would love to have you, and we will see you next week.